Coming to standing, just set your pose and release your hands down by the side of you. We'll just do a couple of warm-ups to start. So inhaling, raising one hand, breathing out, over to one side, breathing in and over. Breathing in and then lowering the hand back down alongside you. And then breathing in, raising the other arm, breathing out, coming back up, breathing out, coming back up, and then breathing out, lowering your arm. Lift and roll your shoulders. And then breathing in, raise both arms, clasp and reverse. Breathing out to one side, breathing into the centre, breathing out to the other side, breathing into the centre, breathing out, turn slightly to one side, breathing in, come to the centre, and breathing out, turn slightly to the other side, and breathing in, come to the centre. Stretch up, you can look up if you want to, making this almost a back bend, and then releasing, bringing your head back up to upright, and breathing out, lowering your hands to shoulder height, breathing out, turning and looking beyond the third finger of one hand, come back to the centre, and breathing out, turn and look beyond the third finger of the other hand. Come back to the centre, and then lower your arms. Lift and roll your shoulders and place your hands on your waist. Step out to feet being hip width apart, and we're going to engage the abdominal area as we bend our knees, bottom goes away, and you'll just feel the abdominal muscles engaging at the lower abdominal level. Breathing in, come back up again, and breathing out, lower your arms. And then just very gently sway from side to side. A very familiar movement, working on all energies in the body. And in other traditions, so Tai Chi for instance, I think I've been quite surprised at how long the practice stayed making this movement. It's not just a few times, it's quite a number of times. And then very gently come to slow your turning from side to side down. And then very gently come to a standstill. Bring your feet more together or hip width apart. Bring your hands once again at the heart centre. And then bending your knees and coming to the ground, however that's appropriate for you. And come to lying on your back. And stretching out. So this first movement is actually going to invite you to hug your knees into your chest. And we start with this practice at the base of the spine, the bottom Muladhara chakra. And the sound for that, if you want to say it to yourself in your head, is LAM, L-A-M, or pronounce lum. So come to hugging both knees into the chest. And this is a variation of a pose called Apanasana, Apana being the base energy that we're working on at the moment. Just enjoy that knee to chest movement. And you'll notice that if you let your hands, or explore where your hand position is, further away from you or closer to you, you'll massage against different parts of your lower back. And then just very gently, just rock from side to side. And then very gently supporting your legs if you need to place one foot and then the other foot onto the floor, and then sliding your legs out away from you. Lying in Shavasana for a couple of breaths. And now engage your feet by extending your heels away from you. And we'll start by extending, in particular, the right heel away. Palms are down. And as you next breathe in, raise your right hand up above you and rest it, let it rest above your head. You can bend your elbow. And breathing out, turn your head away from your right outstretched arm. When you're next ready to breathe in, bring the head back. And then breathing out, lower the right arm and relax the right leg. And now bring your attention to the left side as you extend the left heel. Raise your left arm above you, resting the hand on the floor. You can bend your elbow as much as you'd like. Breathing out, turn your head away from your left outstretched arm towards the right. Breathing in, bring your head back to the centre. And breathing out, lower your left arm and relax your left foot. Just extend your right heel and then relax it. And then extend your left heel and then relax it. Right heel and relax. And then left heel and relax. And now bend both elbows as you breathe in. You can clasp your hands at the thumbs. You raise your hands up above you. Again, you can keep a bend in your elbow. And cross your right foot over your left, so your right ankle goes over your left. And just explore swaying gently from side. Then come to the centre, stretch up with your hands, and then breathing out, slide to the other side. Come to the centre and stretch up, once more sliding to one side. Come to the centre, stretch up as you breathe out, slide to the other side, and come to the centre. Lower your arms and uncross your legs. And then just waggle your ankles from side to side, wobble them. And then cross your left ankle over your right ankle. Bending your elbows, raise your hands up above you. And once more, you can hold your thumbs, or you can hold one wrist with your hands as you slide from one side. Come to the centre, stretch up, and then slide it over to the other side. Come to the centre, stretch up, go to one side. Come to the centre and stretch up, go to the other side, and come to the centre. And then lower your hands and uncross your ankles. Leaving your left leg where it is, hug your right knee into your chest. So for anyone who's been in the garden, this is quite useful. It's another variation of Apanasana or knee to chest pose. Just slightly gets into that area a little more. And then circle your right knee while you're holding it in one direction. And then circle your right knee in the other direction as you're holding it. And then supporting your right leg as you place your right foot along the floor. And then bend out your right knee so you're in a lying tree. Your right your right foot, your sole of your right foot doesn't have to touch the inside of your left leg. You can always take a cushion or a pillow as support under the right thigh. And your hands can rest on your abdomen with your elbows out. Or they can rest outstretched along the floor, like a T. Or you can even bend your elbows and rest them up behind, above your head on the floor. So choose whichever is most comfortable for you. And feel that both at the lower hip level and under the arms, these are both connecting into your lymph system, your immune system. So you're giving space here for your energetic flow. And even if you've had your lymph nodes removed for whatever reason, the energetic flow is still in place. If you wanted to do this outside a normal yoga practice as a restorative pose, you can do that with lots of cushions and bolsters and support under your head and support under your thigh. Then supporting your right leg as you bring it upright and then sliding your right leg away from you along the mat. And sliding and bending your left knee in, hugging your left knee into your chest. And very gently circle your left knee in one direction. And then very gently circle your left knee in the other direction. And then supporting your left knee as you open the left knee out to the left. The left foot comes towards the inside of your right leg, it's lying tree. And once more take whichever position suits you, either resting your hands on your abdomen, or you can open your hands outwards, your palms can be up or they can be down. Or you can bend your elbows and raise your hands above your head. Your chin automatically tends to come down. So choose whichever position works for you and just enjoy breathing here for a few breaths, boosting your immune system, opening the inner groin, which in itself confers benefits and additional blood flow to the lower abdominal area. And then supporting your left leg under the left thigh as you bring your left knee up. And once more, hug one knee and then the other knee into the chest. And just rock from side to side and enjoy the massage across the lower back area. And you can rock quite a lot, almost over onto one side. Your elbow supports you as you come back to the centre, and then rocking over to the other side. And while your knees are hugged into the chest, just extend both heels, toes up to the ceiling, and then point both toes. Extend both heels and point your toes away from you. And once more, extend your heels and point your toes away. And then you can begin to circle your ankles, both of them in one direction, boosting your circulation for your entire body, actually, not just your feet. And then circle your ankles in the other direction. And now try stretching your toes out and just releasing and relaxing. And once more, stretch all your toes out and release and relax. And then supporting your left leg back down onto the ground. Your left knee is bent, your left foot is on the floor. And turning your right knee out to the side, placing your right ankle above your left leg. It's like a half butterfly or a figure of four or a partial pigeon lying on your back. And you can place your right hand on the inside of your right thigh. Your left hand can rest on your abdomen, or you can rest it on the floor. And just sway both knees from side to side. Again, just opening up. And while you're in this position, it's interesting to try relaxing your inner right thigh. And then just hold your right thigh with your right hand, your inner right thigh, resting the elbow on the ground. And just extend your right heel and feel your muscle, your internal lomboceras muscle, just tighten slightly. That's part of your leg support. And then just release and relax. And then gently hold, bring your right knee, hugging it into the chest once more and replacing your right foot back onto the ground. Placing your hands on your abdomen, elbows out to the side, and just gently rock or sway your knees in the same direction from side to side. You have the option here of bringing your feet wider than hip width apart, and then you can drop down a little bit more in your sway, but it's all very optional, just swaying from side to side. And then bring your feet back more to hip width apart and hugging your left knee into your chest, circling a couple of times, and then in the other direction. And then opening the left knee out to the left as you place your left ankle on your right upper thigh. And just gently rock from side to side with your knees moving in from one side to the other. And your hands can be on your abdomen, or one hand on the abdomen, one hand on the ground, or you can have your hands out in a T along the floor. And then very gently remove your left ankle and place your left foot on the floor. Keeping your elbows on the floor, but feel free to adjust them in towards your body. And your hands go upwards towards the ceiling. And just very gently circle your wrists a couple of times in one direction. And then very gently turn and change direction to circle your wrists in the opposite direction. And then palms up to the ceiling, stretch your fingers, and then point your fingers away, and palms up, and then palms away. And then very gently bring your palms back to your abdomen, your head. If it's moved off centre, back to centre. And then hug one knee into the chest and then hug the other knee into the chest. And once more, just very gently sway from side to side and come to now a seated position, either sitting straight up by rocking forwards and backwards, or roll to the side, to the right, away from your heart to come up more slowly. Again, you choose whichever version works for you. We're coming up, taking your time to readjust and to then come into a seated position. Holding your shins and sitting upright. So just exploring the neck, turning your head from one side to centre and then to the other side, to centre, to one side, to centre and to the other side. And then the other part of the metabolic rebalance, which is lifting your chin and lowering your chin. So you're retaining control of your head movement at all times. Just gently lifting your chin either up a little bit with control and breathing out, lowering your chin to your chest. And then just one more time, lifting up with your chin and then breathing out, lowering your chin to your chest. And holding your shins, or maybe just below your knees, sitting upright and then breathing out, rounding and rolling chin to chest. Breathing in, sitting up, and breathing out, rounding chin to chest. Breathing in, sitting up, and then breathing out, rounding chin to chest. And once more, sitting up, and then breathing out, rounding chin to chest. Bring your hands under your knees and stretch your feet out once more, lifting the flesh out from under your bottom. And once more, cross your left ankle over your right, sitting up. And then bring your right hand to the outside of your left thigh, left hand behind you, breathing in, sitting up. Make sure your shoulders are away from your ears, and then breathing out, turn to the side. Breathing in, sitting up, and breathing out, turning. And stay here for an in and an out breath. Come back to the centre. Just slightly turn to the other side. Then come back to the centre. Hands on the ground, and maybe lean back to uncross your ankles, just bouncing your legs. And then your right ankle goes on top of your left. And sitting up, your left hand goes to the outside of your right thigh. Right hand goes behind you, breathing in, sitting up, and breathing out, turning. Breathing in, sitting up, and breathing out, turning. And staying here for an in and an out breath. Come back to the centre. Uncross your ankle. Sorry, before you do that, just go to the opposite direction. Come back to the centre and then uncross your ankles. And just slide your hands down your legs. Coming into a slightly forward bend. Have a sense of that you're bending almost from your tailbones. You lift up and then come over. So we've moved from the base chakra along to the next one. And then we've now moved in our rotation or our twist to the just behind the navel. It's our digestive system. Sliding the hands up the legs, bending the knees, rolling to the side. And coming to a couple of cat-cows on your way up to standing. So inhaling, dipping your back, cat. Breathing out, rounding your back. Your chin comes to your chest, cow. Inhaling, dipping your back. Looking up, eye or along the floor. That's better for your neck. And breathing out, rounding, chin comes to chest. And one more time as you dip your back. And then rounding chin to chest. Tuck your toes. The lower abdomen comes in. And then lift up into a very soft dog. Keep your knees bent as you extend your bottom, extend your spine. And then begin to straighten your legs. They don't have to be completely straight. And you're aiming your heels to the floor. And feel free to adjust your hands and your feet too. Keep a bend in your knees if you want to soften this to the lower back. And then begin to walk your hands to your feet to your hands in a very gentle movement. Soften your knees and just rest forward into a forward bend. You can rest your hands on the floor or rest your hands on your calves, your ankles.
And then really pressing your feet down as you roll up vertebra by vertebra to standing.
And lift and roll your shoulders. And come to the top of the mat. Bring the hands together. Inhale, exhale. Breathing in, raise your hands up. Stretching your fingers. And breathing out, rolling down.
Hands either side as you step your right foot back, left foot back, and come into a downward dog. Your feet can be wide and hip width apart. You can bend your knees and then straighten your knees. Bend your knees and then just straighten a little bit more. And then bend your knees as you come to kneeling. And then come to lying. I'm going to come onto my elbows to support me lying onto the ground. Press your elbows into the floor as you almost pull yourself forward and feel the stretch at the lower back level. And then come to lying. Your elbows will move out slightly to support this. Press your hands into the floor, elbows in, and come back to kneeling. And tucking your toes, come back once more to downward dog. And then walk your feet to your hands to your feet, to a forward bend. Press your feet into the ground, bend your knees, and roll up. You can use your hands against your body, vertebra by vertebra to standing.
And then inhaling, raising the arms up, stretch your fingers, thumbs behind, little fingers going to the front, and breathing out, lower your hands. Inhale, exhale. Breathing in, raise your hands up. Breathing out, roll down. Hands on the floor.
Step back, one left foot and then right foot into a downward dog. Bend one knee and then the other. Feel that you can adjust your feet. And then very gently bend both knees down onto the ground. And then come forward on your elbows maybe to lying on the ground, pressing your elbows in, and then come to lying. Hands slide back, elbows go in to support you as you press your weight down. Come back to kneeling, tucking your toes. You can bring your bottom almost towards your heels and then come back as you lift one leg and then the other, bend one leg and the other, as you lift up into a downward dog. Feel again you can adjust your feet by bringing them closer. In, bend both knees and straighten your legs a little bit. Bend both knees, extending along your spine and then straighten. And then bending your knees as you walk your feet towards your hands and your hands go towards your feet. Press both feet into the ground. And then roll up vertebra by vertebra to standing.
And then inhaling, raising your arms up and breathing out, lowering your hands. Inhale, exhale, hands together. Inhale, arms up, breathing out, rolling down.
Right foot back, left foot back, you're in dog. Walk the dog a couple of times by bending your knees. In alternate, walk the dog. And then bend your knees back down to the ground. Come to lying on your abdomen. Just enjoy the stretch as you come forward and then lie down. Elbows up and in, hands pressing down to lift yourself back onto your knees, tucking your toes. Coming into downward dog, use your feet to adjust to being comfortable for you, bending, extending. Walk the dog. And then walking your feet to your hands to your feet. Pressing both feet into the ground as you roll up vertebra by vertebra to standing.
And then hands up. And breathing out, hands down.
Inhale as you raise and breathing out, roll your shoulders and clasp your hands behind you, knuckles in onto the ground. Just enjoy the stretch here. Separate your hands, slide your hands down the backs of your legs to the floor, hands on the ground. Step back with your left foot and then your right foot, staying high in dog, your dog. Bend one knee and then the other knee onto walking the dog. And then bend both knees, come back down to the ground, come into lying. And then come to really lying, hands back towards your shoulders, just a little bit beyond, elbows come in to support your weight as you press down with your hands to come up to kneeling. And then tucking your toes, coming once more into a downward dog position. Feel free, and you'll see I'm adjusting my feet here. Bringing them in slightly, but actually having them wider apart, walking the dog. And then walk your feet to your hands to your feet. Place your hands on your shins and have a sense of lengthening from the base of your spine to the top of your head. Breathe out, bend in, knees bent, elbows out. Breathe in, press your hands onto your shin and stay here as you breathe out. And then as you next breathe in, soften your knees, press down into the ground as you roll up vertebra by vertebra.
Hands up, stretching your fingers. This time, join your thumbs together and then just very gently sway from side to side. Clasp your hands and reverse them and lift your heels, your bounce. And then just releasing your heels down and releasing your hands. Lift and roll your shoulders. This opens the gate energetic pathways up into the head. And once more, just sway from side to side. And then coming gently to the centre. And coming to bend your knees to come back onto the ground. So the movements that we've just done, the salute to the sun, are viewed very much as a heart movement. So we're now moving up towards the throat area and coming to your bottom, coming onto your back and bending your knees in towards you, hugging them, just rocking once more from side to side. Extend your feet upwards to the ceiling, so you've got a V, and just use your hands to the inside of your thighs to support or brace you. Stretch your heels out, and then relaxing, bend your knees. Inhaling, stretch your legs out, and just feel the tautness on the inside of the legs as you stretch, and breathing out, bending in. And inhaling, extend your feet upwards, and just breathing out, bend both knees in now and hug those knees into the chest once more as you rock from side to side. And then supporting your legs as you place them once more onto the floor. Feet hip width apart, and this time your hands are palms down on the ground. And we'll start with a couple of pelvic tilts. Just pressing your back into the ground as you're lifting your bottom up and then releasing as you're relaxing back down again. And once more, flattening your back. As you go to lift your bottom, you don't have to. It's just that action of a pelvic tilt movement. and then come to relax back to neutral. This time, press your feet into the ground, lift your bottom, and then bending your elbows, raise your elbows up above you and behind you onto the floor. Your chin tucks down to your chest. And then breathing out, lower your bottom and then lower your arms back down to the ground. And just take a recovery in and out breath here. And then once more, pressing your feet down, lifting your bottom, raising your arms up above your head, tuck your chin into your chest. And then breathing out, lower your arms and then lower your bottom back down to the ground. And just take a moment to recover. And again, when you're ready, press your feet into the ground as you're lifting up. And then breathing out, lower your arms and your vertebra down to the ground. And then once more, recover, and then hug your knees into your chest and rocking once more from side to side. And then hold underneath your thighs. You can clasp your hands together and just raise both legs to the ceiling and just rock gently from side to side. If this is too much, then just have your hands supporting your legs where you feel comfortable. Just holding under the thighs is quite good. A seaweed movement. You can keep your knees bent, they don't have to be straight, stretched out, wherever you feel comfortable. If you particularly want to hold your big toes, feel free to do so and just rock from side to side. And the amount of rock can go right onto one elbow. You can really go from side to side. As I said, all variations are very beneficial, so whatever suits you. And then very gently release, hugging your knees into your chest once more. Slide your hands down so that you're holding at your ankles, so that it becomes a lying Baddha Konasana. The soles of your feet are aiming together, they're not actually necessarily touching, but wonderful if they are. Mine aren't. Just gently, once more, open up the inside of your thighs, the inner groin area. It's part of your lymph and immune system. Opening up the inside, and then very gently soften, hug your knees into your chest. Bring your feet back down to the ground, and either keep your knees bent, feet are hip width apart, or open your feet wider and bring your knees together in constructive rest. Or extend your legs along the ground into Shavasana. Whichever works for you, wherever you're going to feel most comfortable. And then just bringing your attention to your feet. Physically scrunch your feet up and release and relax and let them go. Bring your attention to your knees. Tense both knees and release and relax and just let everything go. Your attention to your bottom, tense your bottom, and then just release and relax and let everything go, sink back to the earth. Physically, lift your chest up away from the mat, and then just consciously release and relax the chest back down onto the mat. Tense your hands, your fists, your elbows, your arms, and just then release and relax and let everything go. Physically lift your shoulders up towards your ears, and then consciously release and relax your shoulders away from your ears. Bring your attention to your head, your third eye, as you gently roll the head to one side. Come back to the centre and then roll the head to the other side. And once more to one side and then come back to the other side. And then take your hands and bring your palms together, thumbs together, and then place the backs of the thumbs on the forehead right in the centre and just smooth your backs of your thumbs from the centre of your forehead outwards, across, coming off at the palms. Come back to the centre again and just smooth backs of your thumbs out across your forehead. And then just one more time, smoothing your thumbs across your forehead. And an alternative to a headstand, which stimulates the crown chakra, is just to take your hands and gently clasp the top of your crown. Symbolic of connecting to your crown chakra. Just take a couple of breaths here. And then release your hands back down to somewhere that's comfortable. And imagine that your entire body now is wrapped in a protective light, inside and out, protecting you from any negative input for the day ahead, and only allowing positive thoughts to enter that protecting shield that you've created. And then just release and relax, let that go, knowing that it's there in place for the rest of the day. And you can either stay here just releasing and relaxing on the floor, or you can bring your attention to where you're lying on the mat, parts of the body that are connecting to the floor, and take a moment to move any fingers and toes. Maybe hug your knees into your chest again. To option, either stay here or you can carry on to optionally taking the time to come to one side, to come up gently to a seat position, and taking a bow for yourself for a very lovely day.